welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
And this is, of course, Conversations with the Crawleys, where we have conversations about faith, family relationships, and we do recaps, reviews, and commentary on some of our favorite shows. This one is all about the last episode of the season, first season of Love and Marriage DC. So, this is content that you enjoy. You know what to do. Hit that subscribe, hit the like, request notifications,
and share.
And we will see you, hang out with you, and just chill in the comments. All right. So yeah, this is the first season of this show, which is in the same vein as Love and Marriage Huntsville, but not really connected. Just the same producer.
Same producer in a different city.
Different city.
Right.
Yeah.
Black love.
Yep.
Right. And drama, controversy, trying to live, have a family. What all Black families do. Depending on, and they just in a different pay bracket, you know, but
possibly, yeah.
At the end of the day, they have the same conversations about love, life, and family.
Yes. So we pick up in the last episode where they are still at the detox retreat.
Correct. Getting their IV hydration.
Yeah. So Chris and Monique start off, by saying that they feel the whole group has gotten closer, which, yeah, it makes sense considering that, from what we understand, they didn't know each other really.
They barely knew each other.
They kind of knew of each other.
Right, but now they're getting to know each other.
Right. So that kind of explains why they're not, like, close friends.
Correct.
Like, there are couples that we are, pretty good friends with that, yeah, we could do that with, but there are some people that we just know of.
Right.
And so the dynamic would be different.
Correct.
And so they do also mention that Kevin helped Winter's credibility.
Again, they didn't know these people.
Right.
They keep hearing stories.
Right.
And pretty much this first season was about Kevin and Winter.
Yes.
So, but I think, again, they were learning each other.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And they realized that Kevin is a little, cray-cray.
He's a little off, yeah.
Right.
He's a little strange.
Right.
All right. So yeah, they're doing IV therapy, and so I guess they're getting vitamin water
Shut up.
injected into their veins. IV therapy typically is there's like.
But do you put it down to such the basic? Pretty much, they got stuck with a needle, and there's water and vitamins going through the veins.
Right. Vitamin water.
Vitamin water. You might need an IV.
Do some IV therapy. Wonder what all you can put in the IV therapy.
Well, as far as I know, you put a lot in IV therapy.
Yeah.
Sports entertainers talk about that a lot.
Ashley was like, okay, well, while we getting the IV therapy, I'm going to go ahead and still, get my drink on.
So basically, she didn't pay for the IV therapy because she's like, I just diluted it by going ahead and get drunk again.
Yep.
So, but they're enjoying each other, having each other in company, and that's when DJ Silver.
Well, yeah, because first of all, they're kind of talking through, and we find out Jamie and Arena could not handle business because it was cold. I guess the cabin or wherever they were didn't have functioning full heat or whatever. I don't know.
It seemed like everybody else got busy. So I don't know because they're older. I don't know. It just wasn't enough temperature for them to do what they needed to do.
Right.
But just to be together, and like they said, they cuddled all night. Sometimes you need that as well.
True.
You don't have to set any expectations or other people put expectations for you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But then, yeah, they get to talking and quick, because they're, first they were talking to, what's her name, Tara, and her husband, Neil, who he had finally said a word, I think.
Yes, because, what happened was Ashley also brought out a card game.
Right.
And she wanted she asked the question from the card game.
Right.
And this is when Neil responded.
Neil was like, yeah, for Tara and Neil, they were, or he was her first.
Right.
But not her only one.
Correct.
And so then he was like, yeah, he kind of strayed a few times. And Quick was like, yeah, like I did too. And Ashley's like, oh, you cheated on me? He's like, yeah, remember that? She's like, no, I don't remember that. We weren't together then. But yeah, I was, and he just keeps on like,
right.
Yep, I cheated on you. Yep,
I'm a part of this. And she was like,
no, you're not. Stop false flagging. Stop trying to claim something you ain't did.
We weren't together. I didn't have a key. You had a girlfriend. That was your girlfriend at the time.
Right.
But I did. Boy, please.
So she gets mad.
Right. And I don't know. I don't understand why she's getting mad. Because if you know they weren't together.
Right.
And you were doing your own thing. Because she says, well, then that means I cheated on you. And so, and I got you back. And he was like, okay, whatever. She got angry. Then all of a sudden, it just go into a whole nother Ashley. So I'm like, I would just say, babe, I think you're misreading,
It's 15 years ago.
It's 15.
You might be misremembering some things.
Right. Or you felt like you did something, if that makes you feel good.
Right.
But it ain't nothing for me to get mad about. I'll be just like, okay, whatever. Right. I'm moving on.
Right. Yeah. So then they have basically a night where they're all dressing up.
Right. So the last night. Right.
So Monique and Chris dress up as Biggie and Little Kim.
Yes. And Chris, I appreciate him
making the effort,
getting into the role and really trying. It was just funny. But again, you're having banter, you're spending time with your spouse. I feel like it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was just trying to do the Biggie voice way too much for me. Jamie and Arena did Jay-Z and Beyonce. Ashley was still, while they're getting dressed, still ticked about the cheating thing.
Right.
But they came.
Were they ticked? Because we were. Jamie and Arena was hearing noises coming from their room.
Yeah.
So she wasn't mad enough, from what we understand.
Maybe it was some angry sex going on. We don't know. All right. But Quick and Ashley came as Ike and Tina Turner.
Right. I guess that was appropriate.
Yeah. Tara and Nate, the couple that's in the background the entire episode pretty much, came as Andre 3000 and Erica Badu. And then Winter. Let me first ask, why is she still there? Because I thought
she was supposed to leave
with the sex therapist.
Jennifer, which they wouldn't call her by her name.
But Winter, and here's the other thing that I'm looking at, is there's been, if we go back to the conversation with the sex therapist, Winter's there hearing about these couples, intimate, that, yes, you were sharing this couples, where have you. And now she's again here. If it's a couples detox, why is she there? That's just my thoughts, my question. I don't know.
Well, they probably, after everything that happened, Kevin left. Like, it's too late, girl. I know this is a lie. Why don't you stay over?
And get up and leave in the morning. But no, she's still there. So she comes and they just assign her as Yolanda Adams.
Right, because she wasn't supposed to be there.
Right.
So she didn't have no costume.
Right.
So it's like, you're going to be the gospel singer, sis.
Because you were trying to say your whole Sign My Divorce Papers rendition last episode.
Woo.
So they continue on. Ashley is, again, she's still ticked. She asks, basically, why bring it up? If this happened way back when, why are you bringing it up? And so she says that she essentially gets her lick back by causing him emotional distress. Like, I cheated on you, and kind of playing with his head. Don't do that in your relationship. Don't. Lickbacks is not.
That's not the way to go.
That's school ground. He hit me, I hit you back.
Hurt people.
As grown adults,
we have to mature.
Getting lickbacks is not a good thing in a relationship, especially when you talk about emotional and relationships. So Ashley and Quick are kind of hosting this portion. And so they ask the question, if you all had to do it all over again, would you marry the person that you're with? So, and that's a good question. Chris was like, yep, I would do it. Even with my college sweetheart, it doesn't compare. I would still do it all over again. Monique has an issue with that.
I'm really confused.
Yeah.
So at the time, she's just like, what? Why are you bringing up your past love in this? because I'm telling you, I love no one else
But
more than
right.
you.
And what he was saying was that that doesn't compare to you. Right.
Right.
And so I get what he's saying. It may not, you may not have felt it was appropriate or what have you, but what he was trying to communicate was even my relationship that was probably my strongest relationship
Mm-hmm.
before you
Mm-hmm.
does not compare to what
Right.
I feel about you.
Right.
So, and then Monique makes a statement that I'm going to call a dumb statement, in my opinion.
Okay.
She makes a statement that paper complicated them, that she's not sure she would do it all over again, and that she would want him to, she would not marry, but she would be with him because the paper complicated them. Now, I think that's a dumb statement.
I don't know what she's trying to say, because she said I would still have kids with you, we'll still be together, but we wouldn't be in a legal binding marriage. But that doesn't it doesn't I don't I don't get it, because at the end of the day, to me, to have a binding marriage, especially with him being an NFL player, and a lot of times even athletes don't get wills, your butt would be on the street by yourself with your kids if something happened to him while he was playing or in the game. His parents would get his estate. So you're not thinking through
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
because just because it's at the courthouse, you're legally married, and your name doesn't change how you're reacting to one another.
Right. You would still have, I think you would still have the complications because the paper is sitting at the courthouse.
Well,
The paper is not every day in your face talking to you. The paper is just uh, uh, it's just a document that signifies and certifies that you guys are together. So,
a lot of times we're trying to find places to assign blame for how we're responding into a relationship.
mm-hmm.
Because she says, you know, maybe we would have stayed the same if we didn't got married. Like, we would have still had the same fun. Um, Before I got married, after I got married, I still was having fun. Now, did things change because now we're seeing each other every single day? And now, guess what? All that stuff that we kept behind that secret closet and
Mm-hmm.
we have to show our true selves
Mm-hmm.
starts to come out.
Right.
And so now that we're not just boyfriend and girlfriend, we're in a committed long-term relationship, sooner or later, all your dirt, your dirty draws comes out.
Mm-hmm.
No matter if you married or not.
Right.
We are no longer pretending.
Right.
We're there.
Exactly.
So if you want to just say, yeah, it's just,
Well, here's the thing: marriage/relationships are a four-letter word.
that's true.
Work. Your marriage,
Right.
your relationship
Right.
takes work.
It takes work.
And so, yes, it's all fun and games in the initial dating phase.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It can still be all fun and games after you're
Mm-hmm.
married or as you go on,
Right.
but it does take work.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not willing to do the work, or if you're confused about what the work means for your relationship,
Right.
then yeah, it's going to cause you to question some things.
Right.
Right.
Right. So I wouldn't call it dumb. Maybe naive in what she's
Okay,
saying.
I can give you that.
I would give her naive, because at the end of the day, I'm sorry, women, you've been, depending on the state you live in, if you're not married and you've been staying and creating all this income together, you got a house together.
Mm-hmm.
If he dies,
If your state doesn't recognize common law,
correct, and he's in the hospital giving his last breath,
you got no say in it.
and his parents are there, they're not looking to you
Mm-mm.
for, ma'am, what do you want to do? They're going to look to his parents.
Yep.
And they're going to say, okay. And then when he dies, if he has anything left, it's going to go to them.
Yep, because we've seen that.
So I would say you better go up to a courthouse and say, hey, babe, let's just go up here and do this and be legally married.
Hey.
Because nobody wants to think about that. I get that. Nobody wants to think about someone you love may pass.
Because again, I do take issue, and I can agree with the that it was a naive statement that the paper complicates things. I don't necessarily see how a paper complicates things. Marriage relationships are complicated enough.
Right.
Period. Whether
Right.
you are married
Right.
or not,
Right.
they're complicated. So,
Right. So I'm just saying, you better find out what's going on in your state.
yep. Jamie says he would do it all over again. It's not up for
Right.
debate.
Right.
Arena's like they're on the same page. They're
Right.
they're settled into, look, we're the best for each other.
Right.
Not saying it's perfect, but we're the best for each
Correct.
other. They're good.
Correct.
Ash was like, nope, wouldn't do it. I spent what did she say? I spent 20 years raising him, growing him up. I wouldn't. I want my 20 years back. And now, again, she said that when she was still angry about the statement. But do you think that it was based fully in that, or is that kind of maybe where she's at?
I mean, I think everybody's been at a place where it's like, you know what, why am I doing this? Why am I in this relationship? I think for her but that's your personality.
Right.
You knew he was immature. You knew he wasn't, but there was something about him.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, even though you didn't like what you were doing, you continued to do it.
Right.
So a lot of times we have women who rather be in a relationship and have to mature the spouse. They have some regret about it, but at the end of the day, you leave him and you do it to you get the same dude with the same character, and you end up doing the same thing. So that's again about how you.
Why are you pointing at me?
I mean,
you do this. No.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to say an example, like, women say this because I've known women like this. They're codependent on helping and over-helping and mothering their man. And then they feel like, I'm so tired of doing this. I don't want to do this anymore. And then they end up with another dude where they're doing the same thing. So it's not him.
Right.
He came as he was.
Yep.
And I think it's best for her to realize, what have I gained from the time I spent helping someone else get to where they need to be? Because at the end of the day, we are supposed to help each other.
Absolutely.
And mature. We mature each other in a sense.
The Bible puts it, iron sharpens iron, right?
Correct.
So we're supposed to strengthen each other. In other words, because, for us, we recognize there are areas that I'm strong in that she's not as strong in. And there's areas that she's strong in that I'm not as strong in. And so part of the partnership of a marriage and partnership of a relationship and part of covenant, there's an interesting word.
Right.
Part of covenant is that you are covering the strengths and the weaknesses of each other. Right. So, but Quick is like, look, I would do it all over again. Yeah. He says he wouldn't know, he did not know what unconditional love was until he met Ashley.
Correct.
Right? Until he was with her. So
correct. He found growth in his life.
Yeah.
And he's recognizing how to honor her.
Yes.
For the things that she did for him.
Yeah. And
I think at the end of the day, that's what you should focus on.
Yes. So then everybody leaves. They head back to the DC area.
Right.
Chris and Monique are at the ranch. Meanwhile, back at the ranch. So they're back there, and they are recapping the Detox Weekend.
Right.
And he says he was shocked by her answer.
Right.
He was a little shocked, taken aback by her answer.
Right.
She said she would not marry until she saw some change. Well, here's the thing. You won't see the need for change until you are in this place where you can see the need for change. Right.
Because like they said, your representative is there until the true person arrives, right? Because you want to show your best foot forward before you're married.
And here's the thing. I don't care how much premarital counseling work you do, you're still going to discover things about your person as you go along.
Right.
There's still things, we're 26 years in.
Right.
There's still things that we're discovering about each other, because I don't know that you can go into a marriage knowing everything about the person.
Or
You're
how to
going to
respond.
discover more
Right.
about them based upon different scenarios that you don't encounter in the
Right.
first parts of your dating or marriage, right?
Right. Or you don't know their upbringing and everything
How
because
that plays into it, all of that.
because she makes a statement. I feel like I always have to prove myself and my value. And that's the reason why she got upset because he's
Yes.
like, well, I have to prove myself. He said, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Right.
And she's like, well, you always get mad because and rebuttal me and getting mad at me. He's like, because it's my experience.
Right.
And what I have a problem that Monique is not recognizing is that she's taking what's internal, her low self-esteem, her having to prove herself. So when he makes a statement, she's objectifying that that's about her.
She's hearing it through her trauma.
She's hearing it through her trauma.
That's really what's happening, is that she's hearing it through her trauma.
Right. Instead of realizing that he's giving her the highest pedal, saying, look, I had a college sweetheart. I thought she was going to be the one, but you came along, which was what I needed. I'd be like,
right.
Instead of like, why are you bringing it up? Why I have to be compared to somebody else?
Where that shows and reason we say that there's some insecurity there. Not saying that she's an insecure woman, right? But there's an insecurity maybe with that, because, for example, we had a conversation a couple months ago where we were like, if we had never met, what would happen, right? And I said, yeah, I'd probably be back home in Chicago. I probably would have, sought out my my high school, the girl I dated in high school off and on. That's probably who I might have ended up with. That didn't impact her.
No.
Because we've been together, we're good.
Right.
There's nothing. Right?
I didn't have to get upset like, what? Why would you decide to do all that?
You wouldn't seek me out. You wouldn't come and find me. No.
I was like, he would have gone back home. I probably would stay where I was.
Yeah.
So it was understanding from that person's perspective because you had a long history with that person.
Right.
You were sharing with me that, and it didn't bother me because that was your life.
Right.
But she's projecting her, like you said, trauma on him, and then trying to make him feel bad and be mad at him.
Yeah.
And I think Chris needs the self-awareness to say, no, based off of what I'm hearing from you now, first of all, babe, maybe he didn't know. Like, babe, I'm sorry. It wasn't coming across to hurt you.
Right.
But at the same time, I would tell, if I was Chris, I'd be like, but you don't need to be mad at me.
Right.
Get some counseling because what you're saying is all your life you've been doing this.
Yes.
And I'm saying you don't have to do it with me anymore.
He's just the voice right now that she's doing it with.
Correct.
So.
Correct.
Then we get over to Jamie and Arena and little Jamie.
Right, because they get home. It sounds like some in our family.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, a kid wants to spring some crazy stuff on us. Like, oh, by the way.
Tomorrow.
I got court tomorrow. What?
And it ain't a traffic ticket.
Right.
It's not. It's not a littering fine.
Right. So, and then like being in mommy mode, right? You're trying to get everything ready, make sure he's prepared. And again, like any parents would do, you're trying to figure out how serious this is going to be. You're scared for your child. You're fearful. You don't want to see, because your child make this one mistake,
right? It
impacts the rest of their life.
So he's got to go to Upper Marlboro Court, and we know Upper Marlboro.
I've been there.
Have you been to the courthouse?
Yeah, I had the jury duty.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, we know Upper Marlboro.
Yeah.
Yeah. AKA Largo, AKA Kettering. They just want to say they're Upper Marlboro. But all right. But yeah, they got to go to Upper Marlboro Court. He's got 9 charges, 9 counts.
Yes. I was like,
weapons and narcotics. So, and they say he's looking at a minimum of 5,
right,
up to 25,
up to 25 years.
And Morena's like asking Jamie, and the rumor is that Jamie is a police officer. I don't know, Jamie, if you're watching, you can confirm or deny that if you can. We don't know. But Jamie or Irena's like, do you think that they'll arrest him? And Jamie's like, yeah, they could arrest him right there in court. So Irena then talks about her dad, that her dad went to prison when she was, I think, 7.
Yeah.
And he died in
And
prison
he
too.
died in prison. And again, as you hear adults talk about their parents being in prison, or in her case, never seeing them outside of those walls,
Yep.
you can just see the heartbreak that she doesn't. First of all, she doesn't want that to continue in her family
Right.
with her son.
Right.
And just how it was so hard for her, because she begins to cry,
Mhm.
and I feel for her. I would never want to have my black son have to consider any church. I'm always on him like, you get your license plate, please be careful, watch the speed, watch when you go in certain areas.
We've
Because
had to
again,
talk with our son
having
and our
those
daughter. Yep.
having those conversations
Mhm.
to be safe.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate because of some of the things he did decide to do,
Mhm.
place him in danger. And you could tell he's kind of like, it's like being that blank look, like, oh crap, this is so serious, but I don't know how to feel, but I am having all these emotions.
Reality is hitting.
Yeah.
So they do go to court, and some of the things that were misdemeanors are now felonies.
Yes.
So the lawyer's like, it's serious. We got to start this process over in some respects, because they got to, I guess, a place, and so after the hearing, things have gotten a little more serious.
But thankfully, what makes the difference, because he would have been in jail right now if he didn't have the parents that he has, that has the money they have.
Possibly, yeah.
No. There's no possibility, because he would have been given just a regular old court-appointed attorney.
Very true. As far as the attorney, yes.
He would have been, until he had his arraignment and stuff. Sure. He would have been in jail
unless he was released on his own recognizance. So depending.
When did they release black men on their own?
Listen, I'm
just,
we don't know all the details.
They bailed him out.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Gotcha. So we don't. That's kind of a cliffhanger left at the end of the season. Right. So we don't know what happens with that. Maybe at the reunion we'll get a little more information on that.
I'm praying for them. I would never want to have a family. Go through that.
Yeah. So then later that night, it seems, because Jamie and Lorraine are like, we had to deal with this earlier. Ashley's book event. So remember, Ashley was writing a book. It's being released.
It's being released. But I think we need to say, they have to realize we are still our own people. We have to move on. That's his situation.
Right.
And we love him.
And be there to support.
Be their support. But we can't just lay in the house.
Yeah, if something like that would have happened, we'd have to move on.
We have to move on. I gotta live.
Right. Absolutely.
So.
Especially because the goal is to raise them up and let them do what they do.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
You provided enough guidance through those formative years, hopefully.
Right.
So at the book event, Winter shows up, and Winter starts channeling the wine, and she's like, "Millions didn't make it, but I was one of the ones who did." She's sitting there like, I don't know how I got here, but I made it in.
Look, and this time I'm really invited. I feel a part after I had to show you my crazy soon-to-be ex-husband, the way he was treating me. And did she cut her hair? Is this a wig?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm just wondering.
I don't know. So the other couple show up too.
Like,
right?
Sam, your hair grew back.
Hey. Jamie and Arena, I guess with the stress of everything, like, we need to go take care of some business. There's a big family bathroom over there. And here's the thing. They kind of announce to everybody.
Hey guys, we're about to be spontaneous.
That's not spontaneous.
What? You about to be spontaneous.
Hey guys, excuse us, continue with the hors d'oeuvres. Say, make sure we don't have anything show up in our drinks over here. We're about to go have sex in the bathroom over there.
We're about to be spontaneous with it. And then he was like, all right. And then she's like, what? He's like, come on. And he's like, what? And she's like, huh? He's like, oh, don't try to reject me now. But I was like, okay, guys, y'all not even. And then, I don't know. I don't even know if anything happened in there.
At least hopefully they cut off their mics. Okay.
Now they probably would have played a little
Because
bit of
there's a
it.
little bootleg recording going on somewhere. Jamie, you might want to investigate that, bruh. Make sure your mics are off.
Oh my God.
So then, Quick, Ashley does her, speech as far as her book, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And Quick surprises her essentially with a new ring
Right.
and a proposal. He
Right.
does gets on the one knee
Right.
to, will you continue to be my wife?
Right.
And then Tank shows up and starts singing.
Right. Because he's like, I'm about to sing. Everybody quiet
He's
down.
like, nah, bro, don't do that.
Ashley like, hold on.
Mm-mm.
Come on. Now, you don't sing. Ashley just kind of throwing jabs in there.
Again, the thing I like about Ashley, you will
She's
never
being
have
Ashley.
to guess how she feels about something. Ashley is 100 all the time.
So, and then Tank sings.
Mm-hmm.
And so they enjoy the rest of the evening.
Yeah.
Again, he recognizes all the things she's done.
Mm-hmm.
And now it is her moment to shine.
Yes.
And she's going all out with Ashley pillow style and everything everywhere. And her face everywhere.
Brand it all.
So I wish her book does well coming up as they're ending the season.
Yeah. So that was it for the episode. We do get a preview of the reunion special. I don't know. I think there's 2 reunion specials coming up. So, or 2 parts to it, I should say. So we'll get more information. We'll be here for that.
Right.
Make sure you're here for that.
Right.
By hitting that subscribe, turn on the bell notifications, so that as soon as our video pops up, you get that ding, and you can come watch it.
Is that how it sounds?
I don't know. Ding, gong, I don't know, but whatever it might be. But make sure you're here in the place. All right. Anything else?
That's it.
That's it. We'll see y'all next time. Have a great one. Be blessed.
Bye.